Three phases. You got your life before you were saved, when you were saved, and what happened afterwards. So before I was raised in church, my mom was very much a Christian. She taught the ladies' Sunday school class, and we went to an old Baptist church up above the house with the pulpit slamming Southern pastors, that yelled at us, and the deacons had come try to drag you down there. I knew I never had an excuse that I didn't know God. I just ran. But I remember when I was older going to church with Mom, and I was back there, and they would give the altar call, and I wanted to go. The Holy Spirit was prompting me to go forward, but I was just held back. I remember an old preacher talking about church he preached in where this old guy was back there and said you could see his knuckles turned white on the back of the pew ahead of him, where he just wouldn't go. He was wanting to, but he just wouldn't go. So my dad, I lost him when I was 23 to cancer. And I grew up all my 20s. I was running with kind of a rough and rowdy bunch and just running from God. But then we'll fast forward, I met Carol and we got married. She had 2 little girls, and not long after that, Lauren and Justin came along. And that's when I really got humbled that I knew I can't do this by myself, And we want to hold them and kiss their boo-boos all their life, but they're going to go off and grow up, and they need protection, and the only way you can get that is through God. And so that's when I talked to Carol, and I said, I want us to start going to church, And we was trying to find one. We bounced around to, several different ones looking, and nothing, that we wanted to be a part of. To finally, Leanne had gone to school with Matt and Beth, and she knew that they had started Rockbridge. And we went and visited one Sunday, and I really liked it. So that we made that our regular church. And eventually, we joined, and by this time, y'all are like in high school, aren't you? And we sign up and we get baptized over here at the creek on the Evans farm. And we were really excited. That was a great day. To see kids get baptized with you was just awesome, And so that pretty much is going to start the third phase, I guess, into what happened after. Well, Lauren was in high school. Her senior year, we bought her and how you say God in your life. We bought her a brand new Volkswagen Beetle. She started college in Dahlonega at North Georgia College. And one night she was coming home and it was late. Well, I had gone to work. I was working Southeastern Freight Lines, and I was driving a truck. And I was running at night. And I run to Greenville, South Carolina and back 5 nights a week. I had left out that night, and I was going down through Marietta, and it was misting rain, it was cold, and my little alarm system, when moisture would hit it or it dropped below 32, it would tell you freezing conditions, and it was going on and off. And I was really worried about her, and I was praying for her and just wanting her to get home. And I got down about Marietta, and the phone rang, and it was Carol. She said, Mont. Said, Lauren has had a wreck. I said, oh no. I said, have you talked to her? She said, yeah. And I said, well, she's all right then, and that's good. And so then we went through the process. I was driving and praying most of the night, trying to get her home and get them to her where she was at over on 282. And she took that little bug and run it off. It hit a slick spot, and that thing flipped on its top down a deep embankment. And how it didn't cave in, I'll never know. Those things were really tough, or God just took care of her. So you see, prayer works. But this time Carol had developed COPD, and she was diagnosed with COPD, and she was dealing with that, and it was not really improving. But to go on and get the kids, they all get through college and get back and starting their life in the workforce, And one Christmas, Carol was all about Christmas. She would overspend, overdecorate, overcook. And it was just a big thing at the house.
Right in the family. Just
yeah.
What's wrong?
But she was decorating the Christmas tree. She raised her right arm up and she felt something tug, and she felt, and there was a lump under her arm. So she goes and they diagnose her, she's got melanoma. Well, we go to Atlanta and they do surgery, and he thinks he's got it all. Weeks later, they do a scan. We go back and they said that she's cancer free, and we're all excited. And time goes on, and it comes back, and it starts to get to where it can't. Surgery won't help, you know. And she starts taking treatments, and we start going through all that, which was tough. And I was getting 5 weeks of vacation at the time, and most of it was used to help, and the kids were helping, and we were dealing with that, trying to help Carol. And so eventually she starts getting, it's just getting tough. And by this time I'm leaving at 3:30 in the morning on a run to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, back to Atlanta, and back to Dalton. And it got, when in 2017, I turned 66, and I signed up and started drawing my Social Security. And my total goal had been to work till I was 70, and after I started drawing, I was going to throw everything I could into my 401k and to save up to retire. Well, I kind of got to seeing that, is that going to be possible? Because the kids had to come home and help Carol a time or two. When I'd be gone, it wasn't like I'd be 200 miles away. I couldn't just run home and help her, or I just didn't want to leave her there. So I was debating all that, and it's hard to just turn loose and give up a job, that regular paycheck that you've had for 30-something years, and just what's going to happen? You know, what's going to happen with her? How are we going to handle all this? I couldn't make sense of it. And one morning, it was in March of 2018, I left at 3:30 that morning to go to work, and I get to the parking lot at Southeastern, and I back in, and I can see my tractor parked on the ready line over there, and I just shut the pickup off, and I just sat there for a minute. And it was real quiet. It was about 4:30 in the morning. And all of a sudden, this thought, this voice, I don't know how to describe it, came through my head: you don't belong here anymore. And it was weird, you know? And so I thought about that whole day. It was really strange. And by the end of the day, I'd made up my mind that, yeah, I didn't belong there. And I called Carol and I said, you know, I'm gonna retire. I'm just gonna stay home. It tickled her to death, and because she was worried there by herself and everything too, you know. So, and that happened, and how everything just worked out. It was weird, you know, to get the insurance. Everything was going through, how we got help and to deal with all of it, you know. And she made it to finally till December the 8th, and she passed away. And Christmas became a lot different then. But God's strength held all of us together, and we made it through. You know, we couldn't have done it without Him. And I can look back on lots and lots of things that I can't take credit for that just worked out. And, you know, it's real. He's real, and He really can help you if you're just. And I had to get quiet that morning, I think, down there at work, for Him to just push me where I needed to go. You know, regardless whether I understood it or not, that's what I needed to do. And I mean, He knows what's ahead of us and what we need to do and everything and that we can't see. And if we'll just give it to him. I remember for years when I was running Greenville, out there, pick up a little old radio station up in that corner of Georgia, and they would broadcast Love Worth Finding Ministries, and it was Adrian Rogers, and I would listen. I learned a lot from that, listening to that, and it's just, there's a lot to look back on. Just God was there, and if you just want to be somebody that if there's somebody that's carrying a heavy load that's going through a lot, that they can see something in you that you can show them they don't have to do it by themselves. The help is there, and you just a prayer away. And that's what my goal now. If I could help somebody and just I can look back on so much that where he's showed up, and like I said, it's just stuff that you can't take credit for. Well, thanks. Then I'll stop. Josh.